Welcome to an Off the Books episode of the All the Books Show, recorded. Not recorded at the library.
No.
Won't be recorded at the library for a little bit.
No. We're in isolation. That's pretty much. I'm in a hunting cabin in northern Canada, so I've got a lot of canned meats. I should be fine.
This is like the book I read, I Am Still Alive, except instead of Hatchet style storytelling, it's podcasting. Yeah. So
I like that.
Your young daughter is going to come live with you and it's like, I hate podcasting, and then you're going to die and she's going to have to podcast to survive.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Now I know, like, my son is making it difficult for me to do work while at home. Are you finding the same thing with your dogs? Is that challenging for you?
No, it's all pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of get, they sleep in when I sleep in. They nap when I nap.
Right. That's the dream. You're living the dream, my friend.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't your son nap when you nap?
No, never in his whole life has that ever happened.
Oh, well, what about when you sleep in?
No.
Do you when you sleep in, like, on the weekends?
No.
Sleep until, like, noon?
Nope.
Oh, wow.
Actually, you know what, though? Today he slept until 8 o'clock, and it was like a dream come true. I can't.
Hey, I have to... Yeah. Now I'm curious. When's the last time you think you slept until noon?
Never.
Never?
I don't think so.
You never just were like, oh, what time is it? Noon?
I don't think so. I mean, when I was, like, first married, I remember a couple of, like, weekends where maybe like 10 o'clock, but that was like extreme.
Wow. Okay.
I just can't. I don't know. I can't do it, especially when I have to get up like for work every other day. I can't just turn that off. My brain is just like, it's time now. It's time.
Right. All right.
So, now, last week when I was recording with Sally,
I'm Eric Mickles.
Oh, I'm Nic Gunning. Thank you. Thanks for clearing that up.
No problems.
Last week when I was recording with Sally Jacoby Murphy, you were, as I told our listeners, driving 3 dogs down the East Coast in one small car. How did that go?
It went fine. They got on each other's nerves once or twice.
I don't understand what kind of magic voodoo you have that makes that feasible. My 2 dogs being in the same room is dicey. Being in the same car for 10 hours.
Yeah.
No way.
Here, I guess the pick. Okay, so when we first get in the car, Sophie, the big golden retriever. No, that's not how it works. Sniffers, our beagle. He gets in first.
Yes.
So now he's on the passenger side, backseat windows side.
Okay.
Sophie gets in next. She's in the middle. Then it's Scooter. That is 100% fine. They all start sleeping. It's good.
Okay.
We get out of the car. They use the bathroom and everything. We get them back in the car. Sophie jumps in first. I'm like, that should be fine. Mm-hmm. Then Sniffers. Then Scooter.
Right.
Except now when they're lying down, Sniffers is getting a little too close to Scooter, so he starts barking. So about the third time, I was just like, no. And Scooter just kind of huffed and then walked over Sniffers through Sophie's legs to the passenger side.
Wow.
So he had that, and then they were fine.
You know what? They know what they want, and I respect that. I think that's great.
But yeah, they did okay. So...
Okay.
Yeah, Kendra had the 2 cats and the guinea pig, and they're also all still alive. The cats didn't meow at all.
Did it matter which order the cats and guinea pigs got in the car? Or was that not? That was irrelevant?
No, it was not in the order. No,
not a problem.
Yeah,
not a single problem at all.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah, while you were also talking to Sally, you guys got into a discussion about not Casablanca, Citizen Kane.
Yes,
versus Jurassic Park.
She did bring up that sore spot between the two of you. Yeah.
Here's my thing.
Yeah.
This is how I feel about movies in general.
Speak your piece.
All right. Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
First of its kind.
Right.
Blew open the medium. People could suddenly saw what you could do with film.
Yeah.
Same thing with the bronze sword. It's like, wow, look at this bronze sword. Mm-hmm. It's stronger than stick. Mm-hmm. This is a fantastic weapon. It changes everything, warfare and whatnot. But just because the bronze sword was first doesn't mean the iron sword isn't better. So
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see. Just like because Dirty Dancing with Patrick Swayze was before Dirty Dancing Havana Nights doesn't mean that the Swayze one is better. Is that what you're saying?
I think a lot of people really like Havana Nights, yeah.
Do you really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so your point is that Citizen Kane is a trailblazer, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best of its kind.
Yeah. Oh boy, I can't remember it now. The movie with Tom Cruise where he meets his dying dad.
Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
No. The one, it's William H. Macy, and he does that speech. He's like, I have a lot to give. I have a lot of love to give. I just don't know where to put it.
All the Right Moves.
No.
Oh.
The one with the kid who's in the quiz show.
Born on the 4th of July.
No, the quiz show. Julianne Moore. She's all like, oh no, I slept with so many people and now my husband's dying.
Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
I don't know what this movie is.
Hold on. Tom Cruise movie.
I don't.
All right, just hold on. I misspelled movie.
Jerry Maguire.
No, not Jerry Maguire. It's
Sorry.
not the ones you. I don't believe you've seen this. It is
Jack Reacher Never Go Back. Jack Reacher Never Go Back.
Magnolia. Goodness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Magnolia. That's probably a better movie than Citizen Kane.
I haven't seen it.
Okay. It's it's like how everybody loves Godfather, but Goodfellas is the better film.
I see.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Are you excited about Top Gun 2? While we're doing this Tom Cruise spotlight?
No.
Top Gun 2?
I don't know who that's for.
Val Kilmer?
Yeah, okay. Well, I can't believe you just said Val Kilmer's name and didn't
I know.
break down.
I know. It's been rough. It's been rough. Eric and I have done another podcast called Three Nice Things where we talked about Val Kilmer in Island of Dr. Moreau, and it was a trying time. It was a trying time for me.
The idea for that podcast is that myself and two guests come on and they have to say three nice things about a bad movie.
Yeah.
And out of the three of us, none of us mentioned Val Kilmer. Well, actually, we thought Val Kilmer's impression of Brando was okay.
Yeah, well.
But
he's
nobody
just in a chair being like, very funny.
No one else really had like a nice thing to say about Val Kilmer's
including
acting.
People on the set. Nobody had a good.
That's
nobody
true.
Had a word for Val Kilmer.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask our guest today, Tina Dalton, director of the Cuba Circulating Library, if she's seen The Island of Dr. Moreau and what her feelings are on Val Kilmer. So we'll see what Tina has to say.
Yeah. Also, the ongoing Citizen Kane versus Jurassic Park dilemma.
She probably needs to weigh in. I think that's for the best.
Such a strange fight that's happened, but
yeah, I know. Yeah. I know, weird things happen. So I talked to Tina on an Instagram Live, and now you're going to be presented with the pristine, glorious audio of our conversation. Tune in. Tina, you there?
Hi.
Well, Tina, thank you for joining me in what is the second of our off-the-books social distancing edition. Last week I talked to Sally Jacoby Murphy, and here you are, guest number 2. So are you ready to dive in with some questions?
Sure, let's go for it.
Okay. Why don't you go first? What have you been up to?
All right, so I just finished an audiobook, Secret Commonwealth.
Okay.
Philip Pullman. It's part of the Golden Compass series.
Yeah.
Way back when.
Sure.
And it was really good. 16 discs, though, and I listened to it when I drive back and forth to work, so it literally took me months to finish it. It was excellent, narrated by Michael Sheen.
Oh, okay.
Have you read these books?
I haven't. My wife's a big fan, but I haven't read them, no.
Yeah, and they just made the series on HBO.
Right,
too,
yeah.
Which is excellent.
That's Lin-Manuel Miranda who's in that, right?
Yeah,
okay.
He is. It was really good. They did a great job with it.
My wife... sorry. In London, my wife saw a stage version of that with Timothy Dalton that was like 6 hours long, and she was just transfixed by it. So she's got a lot of good memories of that, but I haven't picked them up.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I wonder how they did the demons. Puppets?
I think so. It was a whole elaborate thing, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, 2 of our book club reads for Cuba this month. We're doing Codename Verity.
Okay. That
book club meets out in the community, not at the library. We meet at different restaurants around town.
Oh, that's nice.
It's called Books and Brews.
Nice.
And, so we're going to meet online. We're trying that out this month. It's actually tomorrow. And see how it goes.
Okay.
So, yeah, Codename Verity. It's a Prince winner for a young adult book about a prisoner of war in World War II.
Okay, interesting.
And then our other book club is reading Where the Crawdads Sing. Have you read that yet with your book club?
We haven't done it as a book club, no, but, every single person has read that book, so I'm familiar with I've read it.
Yeah, me too. It's hard to get when you want to read it with your book club because there's holds on every single copy.
Yeah.
So we closed like Saturday was our last day, not this one, but the one before.
Right.
And all these copies of Where the Crawdads came in, and we closed. So now I have all the library's copies of Where the Crawdads sing, sitting on my shelf unused in Cuba.
Great.
But,
do you like the book?
I did like it, yeah. I listened to it as well. It was done pretty well.
I liked it. I wouldn't, I don't know. I wouldn't mark it super high. I didn't think it was as spectacular as it seems the popular opinion is, but I did enjoy it. It was a decent read.
Yeah, a lot of people find it pretty unrealistic.
Yeah.
You know, like
I can see that.
The hot high school guy would fall for the swamp girl who's never been to the dentist in a day in her life.
Yeah,
right?
I know. Yeah.
But the nature aspect of it was really cool, I thought.
A lot of it, I mean, the premise does not sound pleasant, but I found a lot of the sections to be pleasant. You know, the inventive things that she does and how she's able to, make it work for her and everything. So yeah, there's a lot to the book. I imagine it would be a good discussion, but I have my issues with it that I won't get into because it would spoil it. So
yeah, and then when you met with Sally last week, you mentioned Time and Again.
Oh, I love
was
that
one
book.
of your favorite books.
Yeah,
and I love time travel books. They're my favorite genre.
Okay.
Especially vintage, as you could say.
Yeah.
Time travel. So I started reading that, and I am enjoying it. It's pretty good so far. Okay.
Yeah, Jack Finney has that, and there's a sequel that an ill-advised sequel I would classify it as, and then he has a lot of short stories that deal with time travel. So those if you like the book, there's a lot more that you can find beyond that. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
I finished one that I wanted to ask you about to dig into your youth librarian roots. Are you familiar with the Stick Dog series? Tom Watson?
Oh, I am familiar with it. Yeah.
Have you read any of those?
I haven't read it though. No.
I've been reading a chapter book to my son, and I've enjoyed the other ones we read, but I really did not like Stick Dog. And I just found it this one is about this group of dogs trying to catch up with an ice cream truck, and the whole thing is just a conversation about how they're going to catch the ice cream truck. Very little happens, and it's 180 pages. So I was ready to be done with that book. So I don't recommend it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll remember that.
But they're super popular.
Whenever I read a young adult or a children's book and I feel like that, I always think, is this book flawed? Mm-hmm. Or is this just me as an adult reading this book? So what did your son think?
He was not as engaged in it as he was with other things, and I don't think a lot of the times he was super clear on what the plot was, because it's so much of the time of them just talking about the logistics of catching an ice cream truck. So it wasn't a favorite of his, but he did enjoy it more than I did, and I think mostly he enjoyed it because one of the dogs' names was Poo Poo, and that never stopped being funny to him. So
I mean, that alone got that book published.
I'm sure you're right. So I read that, and that was just okay. Are you a Star Wars fan?
I'm more of a Star Trek fan, but I do like Star Wars.
Me too, Tina. Me too. Well, I recently read the Rise of Skywalker novelization. I'm a big novelization fan, and so I was looking forward to this. It's written by Ray Carson, who is primarily a young adult author, and she'd written a Han Solo book that was YA that I really liked. But this Rise of Skywalker, it didn't really add anything to the movie and didn't really do much to smooth out the movie's rough edges, so I was pretty disappointed with that. I read a good graphic novel called New Superman. It's a DC Comics book by Gene Luen Yang. Have you read his other stuff, American-Born Chinese?
I've read that.
Okay.
I've read that one. I'm a huge fan of him. He's got a new book coming out, Dragon Hoops, that I ordered, but of course it's not arrived yet because of no mail.
Everything happening. Yeah.
That's a good one. I liked that one. It was really good.
Okay, yeah, I liked it too. He'd written quite a bit of Superman stuff during the New 52 era, which I ended up really liking. And so the premise of this book basically is that China decides they sponsor a group of superheroes. So there's a Chinese Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman who are a little team. And it's a good mystery. I'm finding it really intriguing. So I recommend it. I think it's cool.
Yeah, excellent one.
I am currently reading Howard's End, which is our book club book at the library. And our book club actually meets tomorrow as well. So we'll be sharing digital space, I guess, during that. Have you read Howard's End before?
No. And, recently PBS did a show of it.
Yeah.
And after I watched a few episodes, I was like, nah, I don't think I want to read Howard's End.
Yeah.
Is it good, though? Should I give it a better chance?
I watched the PBS thing, too, and I actually really enjoyed that. And I thought that like having that in my head made Howard's End a lot better. I mean, it's a very old book. It's, you know, it's 100 plus at this point. And I see some of our viewers here are liking Howard's End. So I think historically the book sits in a really interesting place because it's written pre-World War I, about pre-World War I England, and most of the time, you know, when you're reading a historical novel about that time, it's written sort of with World War I as hindsight, and so it's an interesting snapshot of this time. It's a little difficult to read, I think, but watching the miniseries helped crystallize the characters a little bit and made it so I'm enjoying the book a lot more than I was when I first started it.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I should give it a try. I do enjoy literature from that era quite a lot, but that's just one I haven't gotten to yet. So your book club then goes on to read a modern day book inspired by that, right?
Yeah, that's what we're doing this circuit. It's called On Beauty by Zadie Smith. That's
I like her too.
Yeah, I actually haven't read her before, so I'm looking forward to that. And you know, now enjoying Howard's End like I am, I'm really interested to see what she does with it. So that's next. But that's it as far as what I'm reading right now. I have the DC Comics app, so I've been reading a lot of like old stuff and just sort of going through and catching up on things. So that's pretty handy. Are you a big comic book reader or no?
I do love graphic novels. I don't read the comics, like superhero ones, that often unless they're by my favorite authors, like the one you just mentioned. Then I'll seek them out. But more, I'm looking for like novels, graphic novels. Sure, is what I'm reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does Cuba? Do you guys have a pretty big collection of graphic novels? You do, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, nothing compares to Wellsville's, but it's pretty good.
Well, I find often when I'm placing holds on things that I want to read, if we don't have it, they often do come from Cuba. So I just assumed that you guys had a pretty good stock.
Yeah, when I started there, they just had a handful, and so I really beefed it up because I know that's what my kids loved to read when they were reading before they became teenagers.
Yeah.
And we also have a lot of manga, like a whole stack of manga. That's a big thing that we focus on too.
Yeah.
Same. It's a lot of circulation.
Absolutely, and that's Eric's expertise. So I'm lucky that he's cultivated that collection as he has. 5-6 years ago, we did have graphic novels, but they were all just sort of lumped together. So we split them up and created 3 separate, age ranges and plus manga, and they've been really popular. If you have a kid who's stubborn about wanting to read, they're more likely to read a graphic novel, and I just think that's a great gateway.
Exactly, that's what I always tell parents too.
Yeah.
And we actually read a graphic novel, Hey Kiddo. We read that for one of our book clubs, and so I got several people who had never read one and never wanted to read one before to read it, and they loved it. And that book is an award winner. It's a magnificent book in the first place, but yeah, they were like, okay, I can see the merits of this medium. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to keep active, reading and watching stuff, as well as like getting out of my house every now and then. Have you gotten out?
Yeah. We have a little doggy, so we've been taking him on walks every day and trying to get out. And it's hard to sit at home. Yeah. Like I keep finding excuses to do something. Yeah. Gotta go get cat litter. That was yesterday.
I agree.
And I know that's not the best thing, but it's challenging to stay still.
When was the last time you slept in until noon?
So I'm kind of an early riser. Like the older I get, the earlier I wake up, which I hate. That's not a choice I would make for sure. But I just kind of naturally wake up around 7. But I did sleep till 10 this week, which felt like an accomplishment.
Yeah, 10 was the only thing I could remember outside of like being sick or something like that. But that was probably a full decade ago. Are you ready to dive into our interview questions now, Tina?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay,
let's go for it.
Who was your 7th grade crush?
That was not in the list of questions.
Oh, what a mistake that was.
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember?
Too many. I had several.
Really?
Like every week was a different person.
Really? Yeah. Okay.
I was just in love with being in love, at that age.
So none particularly stands out then. Okay. All right, fair enough. Mine was a girl named Jamie Lowridge, who she transferred into school, so she was like the new girl. Didn't work out, but, I think that's all right. Junior high, it happens.
Do you know where she is now?
I don't. I don't think I've spoken to her since 8th grade, so no, I don't know. What about celebrity crush? I see some of our listeners are putting some on here. Keanu Reeves is listed as one, but it's good choice. Who is your
Yes, that's my friend Wendy, and
Okay.
we knew each other back then.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, we definitely talked about our celebrity crushes together. So, Ralph Macchio was one
the
that
Karate
I really...
Kid. Nice.
Karate
Okay.
Kid, yeah.
Yeah.
And Fred Savage. Yeah. I
Wonder
still
Years.
like both of them. When I see them on screen, I'm like, oh, I gotta watch whatever this, YouTube series is because it's got
Oh,
Fred
right.
Savage in it.
Yeah. Well, Ralph Macchio's been doing Cobra Kai on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. And Fred Savage just did that one with Rob Lowe a few years back, The Grinder, I think it was called. Did you watch that?
I watched it every episode, yeah.
What are you going to do? What about...
And I wasn't there for Rob Lowe.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, I'm sure Fred Savage would be delighted to know that. What about Ben Savage? Were you a Boy Meets World fan?
Oh, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Okay.
I've never watched it.
Never,
That's
ever.
something I could binge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it might be a little dated now. I don't know. I'm probably gonna get some pushback for saying that, but I think maybe it's a little dated. Well, how about your some library history here? Were you a library user as a kid?
Wait, you didn't say who your celebrity crush was.
Terry Hatcher.
Oh, really?
Terry Hatcher from Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman was definitely my celebrity crush growing up. I can't think of another that even comes close to Lois and Clark era Terry Hatcher.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. All right. Now
now
have
you
the
will
truth
answer.
now.
Okay.
So
All right.
yes, I was definitely a library user. I'm an Army brat, and
Oh, okay.
every time we moved somewhere new, the first thing my mom did was take us to the library.
Mm-hmm. Good
get a new
momming.
library card.
Nice.
I know, she is. And she's still, like, when we talk on the phone, we always talk about what we're reading and what we're recommending to each other.
Nice.
I found this. You can see that's me at the
wow.
library summer
Visual
reading
cues.
program. Yeah.
I like it.
So this was Fort Huachuca, 1981. And the theme for summer reading that year was "There's gold in them there books."
I don't really.
I do remember.
Okay.
I remember sifting through sand to find a little prize.
See, I don't remember ever participating in like a summer reading program. I just remember going there for school projects and stuff. And then I remember figuring out that I could look for like comic book characters, and they had a book about the Silver Surfer, who I didn't know anything about, and so I checked out that Silver Surfer book.
Oh.
But I wasn't I wasn't until I was a little older that I really was using libraries regularly. So tell me a little bit about your hometown library. What was, well, you said you had a lot of them, but is there one that stands out in your mind?
Yeah. So when I was in 5th grade, we moved to Fort Rucker, Alabama.
Okay.
And my parents still live in Alabama, actually. So that library is the one I can remember the most, and I consider my home library.
Okay.
So my mom would limit us to only 7 books.
Oh, okay.
Each,
strict.
which seemed at the time like a big limitation, but I'm the oldest of 6 kids. So after I became a mom, I realized she was letting us check out 42 books every time we went to the library. I know.
That's a haul.
Yeah. It is. It's amazing. So then when I got old enough to go to the library on my own, like ride my bike with my empty backpack that I was going to fill up, I still went pretty frequently, like once a week. And I don't know who was buying the books, like the sci-fi fantasy books for that library, but they really did a great job.
Oh, nice.
So that's where I discovered Piers Anthony. Did you read any of his stuff?
I'm familiar with him, but I haven't read him.
I mean, it's so raunchy. I was probably like 11 when I was reading that series, so all that stuff went right over my head.
Okay.
And there's lots of puns in it, and that's probably why
I
liked
okay.
it so much. That was me riding my bike to the library.
Checking out smutty sci-fi books.
Exactly.
Which is actually a good transition into my next question. Which Dirty Dancing movie do you think is better, Dirty Dancing or Dirty Dancing 2, Havana Nights?
Oh my goodness. Well, now you're going to out me. Okay, so I didn't watch a lot of 80s movies, and I've only watched Dirty Dancing like about 10 years ago for the very first time.
Okay.
So I haven't seen Havana Nights, so I'll have to vote for the first one.
Are you a big Patrick Swayze fan? I mean, if you're not watching 80s movies, probably not, right? You're not watching Roadhouse and that sort of thing. Okay.
No. Like, there's a whole catalog of 80s movies that I just have never seen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about Short Circuit? Steve Guttenberg. Did you ever watch Short Circuit?
I did see that one. Yeah.
I loved that. And, of course, I mean, Back to the Future.
Well, I loved Back to the Future. Mm-hmm. That's one that I've definitely seen many times.
Time travel. Travel. There you go.
Yes. That's right.
But you were saying Flight of the Navigator?
Flight of the Navigator. Yeah. That was one that we had recorded on VHS off the Disney Channel, probably. So we watched it over and over again.
Flight of the Navigator freaked me out as a kid. Him going off and, like, getting lost and then coming back, and his parents are all old, and they're like, woo! I don't know. It just really, it freaked me out. Like, that part of it always made me uncomfortable. And I haven't seen it. I mean, boy, I haven't seen that in decades, at least. So
no, me neither.
It probably wouldn't scare me now.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. It's possible. It is possible. What was your first job? Not your first library job, just the first time you got a paycheck.
Well, I did quite a lot of babysitting growing up on the Army base there.
Did you read the Babysitter's Club?
Of course.
Okay.
I love those books.
Just making sure.
And as soon as they came out with the graphic novels, I started buying them up.
Yeah.
We still have some of the original ones at the Cuba Library.
Yeah, I think we have. I think we have whole runs of Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys and Babysitter's Club and Boxcar Children.
Yes.
Perennials. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Well,
Evergreens.
A lot of people are reading them. Yeah. So my first official job was at Superfoods, a grocery store.
Oh.
So it was my first job interview ever, and my parents said I should dress nice for it, right? Mm-hmm. So I wore like this business suit dress.
How old were you?
Dress that they had. 16.
Okay.
You know. And maybe 17. As I'm standing there talking to the lady in the middle of the store, we didn't even go into a room to have the interview. She's just like looking me up and down. Yeah, okay, you can start working here. So that was my first job.
So not a real rigorous interview process then?
No.
She just looked at your snappy business suit and said, this young professional is right? Our kind of lady.
Polka dots. Yeah, it was
big wide collar, big lapel sort of.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
Well, I mean, no wonder you got the job. They say dress for the career you wish you had, not the one you do have. So you were aiming high and it paid off. I think that's great. Anything crazy happen at that job?
Oh, that job was before scanners, so I had to type in all the prices.
Oh wow. Okay. All right.
I don't know, nothing too crazy. I was overly vigilant about carding people because I just had like a lot of guilt about the possibility of selling liquor to someone who was too young.
I didn't even think you were allowed to do that if you were underage.
This was Alabama in the 90s.
Say no more.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember one time I carded this guy. He was like, I'm 51. I'm like, I didn't want to backpedal,
Right.
Like, sorry, you gotta show me your ID.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, you don't know. Maybe it was just a glandular problem. Maybe he really was a, enterprising teen who looked like Robin Williams.
Right. It was a good introduction to customer service skills,
I bet.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Yep. You went to the School of Hard Knocks when it came to customer service.
That's right.
All right. Well, what about
my
first job? Well, the first time I ever got a paycheck was for a theater that I worked at. It was a production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. So I got paid for that. Outside of that, I did a lot of dinner theater and that sort of thing all through high school and college. That was a really steady job for me, and that was great. And then my grandpa owned a retail store and also a meat processing place, and so summers I would work for him there, putting cuts of meat on a conveyor belt so they'd get shrink wrapped and that sort of thing, or working the front desk. Somebody once came in, a little kid came in, and she was with her family, and they were all Spanish speakers, and she was the only one who spoke English. And so she was so little, she was probably like 3 or 4 years old, and she came up to me and said, we want the head of a pig. And I was like, I was like, I must have heard that wrong or something. And so I said that, and I was like, she's asking for a pig head? And they were like, oh yeah, back in the freezer. And so I went back, and sure enough, it's a whole pallet of pig heads, which I learned after has a lot of meat and makes a good stew. So, I sold my first pig head at that job.
Does that pallet of pig heads haunt your dreams sometimes?
Yes, it does. I can still picture it very clearly, in case you're wondering. Yep. Yeah. Could be why I'm a vegetarian now. I don't know. It probably has something there.
Maybe some small factor.
And then after that, when I was a teenager, that's when I first started working in libraries. So what about you? What was your first library job?
So my first library job was an internship at the Library of Congress, actually.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I had been a stay-at-home mom for years when I decided to go back to grad school. And I applied for the internship just kind of on a whim. I really did not think I had a chance of getting it, given my being a non-traditional student. But I got it. And so I went there for a summer internship. I worked in the Asian section.
Okay.
And I cataloged. So this is what you can take away from this, anyone who's in grad school right now, is take that cataloging class, even though it's not really required in a lot of programs anymore, because that's the only reason they picked me out of the stack was because I had that class.
Wow.
So I cataloged manuscripts all summer long.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I kind of enjoy cataloging. I've mostly just done copy cataloging, some original cataloging, but mostly copy. But I did that a lot when I worked at Alfred University, and I had a really good time with it. You know, it's just interesting to dig in there and, you know, see all the little fields and stuff. And it served me well, too. You know, just being able to read the records a little bit more precisely has helped me track things down and all that. So, wow. So that was pretty good.
I agree.
And where after the Library of Congress? No place to go but down.
I know, right? The University of Richmond and the Law Library.
Okay.
And I was a copy cataloger there for 2 years. And you're right, I really enjoyed that and did learn a lot. Yeah. I had a lot of time to binge while I was like doing that.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter. I'm not working there anymore, so
yeah,
I could listen to audiobooks or watch something in like a split screen or play Farmville because they really didn't have. The University of Richmond has a lot of money, so they had a great staff. Okay. And so I had extra time on my hands. But I liked working there a lot, and I'm still in touch with some of those friends.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
And then we moved up here.
Right.
So then I got Olean, and I worked part-time at Olean and Bonaventure for a while before I got the Cuba Library job.
Nice. And there you are. It's such a cool library. I like that. I mean, Cuba's such a great little town, and that library I think is it's just interesting. You know, I like a library building with character. You know, the library that I started in had it had an old section, and then it had more of like a 1980s. The bulk of what you used was like the 1980s add-on, and it did have character. You know, it was like you haven't seen any 80s movies, but it was you know, it had sort of like an 80s corporate vibe to it, which became retro pretty quickly, and so it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things I love about Wellsville is it's just, I mean, so much history, and, you know, everywhere you look is interesting. And I feel like Cuba has a lot of those qualities as well, like just little tucked away nooks and that sort of thing. So it's
I love the building there too. It's really cute. And, you know, half of it is 150 years old, and then the other half is only 20 years old. But the architecture did such a good job building on the addition that you can't tell. Yeah. Unless you just happen to know. But your building, to me, you know, when I went there that time you gave us all a tour, it just feels like the place where you could like stumble into a magical land.
It's true.
Like I'm gonna walk through this little cubby hole here and end up in Narnia.
You know, every year in September when it's History Week, we do a million tours. I mean, we do tours of most of the schools in Allegheny County come, and some even, you know, PA or whatever will come, and multiple kids will ask, like, are there secret passages, and like, are there hidden doors, and that sort of thing. It's a very popular question on the tours. And there are so many weird spaces, like, in the building. There's so many, like, subfloors and just little, you know, you open a cupboard and you're like, oh, wow, okay. So there's a whole hidden space there. That's interesting. I have another movie question for you. Have you ever seen the film The Island of Dr. Moreau with Val Kilmer and Marlon Brando? It's supposed to be one of the worst movies ever made.
I think I have seen it.
Really?
Because I read it. Yeah. And then I wanted to see the film. Yeah.
Do you remember anything about it?
No.
It is spectacularly awful.
The animal mashups were pretty bad.
They were, and it's a very upsetting movie. And both Val Kilmer and Brando are just turned all the way up to 11 and are just working against each other the whole time. So it's a pretty awful movie. Do you like bad movies?
I do. Some of my favorite movies, other people hate, like Napoleon Dynamite.
Okay.
And anything made by that guy who writes, Nacho Libre or Gentleman Broncos. Yeah. I love those movies.
Okay.
So, yeah, I can appreciate a poorly done movie, whether on purpose or not,
Are you a Mystery Science Theater fan then?
No, it bothers me that they talk while a movie's on. So I can't appreciate the whole premise,
No. No, if that's a deal breaker for you, that's not a series for you. I see.
Yeah.
What about Val Kilmer? Are you a fan of Val Kilmer?
I mean, not a huge fan.
Okay.
I wouldn't seek out his stuff.
All right.
Like I would Fred Savage.
Right, of course. Val Kilmer's no Fred Savage. I think we can all agree on.
That's right.
So getting back to Cuba, sometimes we'll just kind of go and hang out and walk around, go into the shops and stuff. Do you have a favorite hangout spot in Cuba?
My favorite little restaurant is the Copper Keg.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been there?
I have. We've gone there for breakfast a few times.
Yeah, and you can get breakfast any time of the day. Which is always a
That's
plus.
what I like to hear. That's especially helpful if you're both my wife and I are vegetarians, and it's having breakfast available all day is really helpful with that. I really they had like a strawberry cream like crepe thing there that I really like.
Yeah.
If I had to choose, I would say the Perfect Blend. I really like going to the Perfect Blend as well. Yeah.
That's definitely up there on my list as well. Mm-hmm. And we've gone there with our book club too. It's a great venue for meeting and chatting. And,
it's nice and open.
The fun thing about Cuba is because it's so small, you're always going to see your friends when you're out at any of those places.
Yeah.
Everyone knows each other. And it's fun and friendly and welcoming.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Now if you could settle a debate that Sally brought up in the last episode that she and Eric have been going back and forth on for years. If you had to choose, do you prefer Citizen Kane or Jurassic Park as films? I can tell you with complete honesty that I don't care. I don't have any attachments to either film, but we need a tiebreaker. So what do you think?
Oh, okay. I'd have to vote for Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a Jeff Goldblum fan.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's fair.
What did Sally say? I didn't hear that part.
Sally's all in on Citizen Kane.
Oh.
And Eric's the type where if you ask him anything and Jurassic Park is a possible answer, he will give Jurassic Park as the answer. So, favorite book, Jurassic Park, favorite movie, Jurassic Park, favorite Weird Al parody, Jurassic Park. Just keep going.
So I have a nephew who's just turned 4 who should hang out with Eric on this issue.
I'll let him know.
Because he is obsessed with Jurassic Park.
Interesting.
And sometimes his parents will find him watching like YouTube videos with sneak peeks on the upcoming films because he just loves everything Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a friend for life in Eric Nichols, so that's great.
There you go.
What do you think? What do you think has been the hardest part for you having the library closed?
I just miss seeing everyone. Are you a Parks and Rec fan?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been rewatching it lately, and I feel a certain kinship to Leslie Knope in how fanatical she is about working for the government and like the people of Pawnee.
Yeah.
That could definitely be me for Cuba and library sciences. I just am a little bit of a workaholic, so that's been hard being away from work and missing all my patron friends and staff. Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is that Leslie Knope is very anti-libraries, so you have to take that with a grain of salt. But no, I agree with you. It is hard to not be going into the library. Like even I've lost track of it now, but the last time that I was there for like a regular day when we were just open and regular was the Friday before we had to do all the shutdowns. Everything just happened so quickly, that I thought eventually it might even get to the point where we have to close the library, and there we go. Not even being able to open on Monday was it was jarring because you thought you'd have time to sort of prepare for it and prepare patrons for it. And so it was challenging. But we've got a pretty big staff, and senior staff and I have an ongoing text chain where we'll all just sort of like beep, 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 to each other. So that's been really helpful. But, I miss the people. I miss like working in the community, and it's hard to adjust. So I'm looking forward to getting back to it.
I knew we were closing that Saturday, that we wouldn't be open again on Monday. And, but I felt like if I were to advertise that fact, it would sort of defeat the point. Like if we had a big rush on the library. So if people came in, I kept telling them, stock up. I don't think people believed me because they still took like just their regular amount. Yeah. And I don't know. I feel bad for those people who come in several times a week and grab an armful of books. Yeah. Because I know this has got to be hard on them.
Definitely. Well, we'd always agreed to, follow whatever protocol the school did. So, they hadn't called it on the Friday that we were there. And then over the weekend it was, they'll be open Monday, Tuesday, and then close Wednesday. And then that didn't happen. And so we were thinking at least Monday, Tuesday, we'd have, and that's how I left on Friday. And me and the senior staff did go in on Monday and kept 6 feet apart from each other and just sort of talked about how are we going to handle this. But it wasn't a traditional day, so it was hard.
Yeah.
It was definitely hard. On a lighter note, what's your favorite Tom Cruise movie?
Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
I mean, he's no Fred Savage.
Wow. I did not anticipate Fred Savage getting the amount of play that he got today. I'm here for it. I just didn't expect it.
Yeah. No, I guess I'm just whatever about Tom Cruise.
Don't care about Tom Cruise.
Someone that I'm a huge fan of.
Okay.
I would say Mission Impossible, maybe.
The original.
The first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. That's that is a great movie. And I still my friend, when that came out, I don't know, probably in junior high. That movie was very old at this point. My friend got it. Well, it's decades. Those movies come out like every 5 years, My friend on the radio won advanced screening tickets to go see that. And so he went and saw it, and we were like, oh, hey, how was it? Because we were all excited about it. And he just spoiled it.
Oh, no.
And I have still held on to that anger. So, that is a good one. Are you excited about Top Gun 2? Because Eric and I have been trying to figure out who is Top Gun 2 for, other than the cast of Top Gun 1.
That's a good question. That's one of the ones that I didn't watch
80s
yet.
movie.
And I recently tried to watch it because I thought, okay, the new one's coming out, and this is a big hole in my pop culture knowledge, and I
couldn't do it.
Buy it. I was like, this is absurd.
80s movies, the pacing in an 80s movie is different. Like you're never gonna watch a movie and think, oh, I wonder when this was made. It's an 80s movie through and through. And
that's very true.
Top Gun is like the quintessential 80s movie. I feel like all of those. I mean, like Cocktail and Days of Thunder and like all of those big budget action movies are just, they're kind of goofy now, and they're also kind of boring. Yeah. They're a little boring, which is not what you'd expect.
Yeah. Yeah, Sylvester Stallone was huge in my household growing up. Like, my dad's a huge Rockies fan.
Yeah.
So, Over the Top is something that I watched over and over.
Okay, wow.
Arm wrestling movie.
Okay, sure. I like Rocky. And I've really enjoyed the Creed movies. I feel like are a good continuation of that story without just having, 75-year-old
my dad's
Stallone.
ringtone,
Oh, nice.
Still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So have you seen all the Rocky movies?
Yep.
Okay.
I have several times.
Do you have a favorite?
3.
Oh, that's Mr. T, right? That's Clubber, and that's a pretty good one. Can we agree that 5 is the worst? That's where he trains a street fighter?
Yes, we can agree on that.
Okay.
Nick.
Yeah,
Certainly.
all right. Okay. But I actually was pleasantly surprised by Rocky Balboa. I thought that was pretty good. What are you going to do?
I'll have to agree with you there, too.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you a serious question again. What's the most interesting online service that you found, whether it's something you're just using personally or something that you're putting out for the library community? What have you enjoyed?
Well, we've been really trying to up our online services ever since we had to close.
Yeah.
And so this morning I put together a virtual scavenger hunt.
Oh, okay.
Through Goose Chase, and it's all stuff you can do in quarantine, just pictures like make a pirate hat out of newspaper and take a picture of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that works out. I'm hoping some people will take an interest in giving it a try.
Okay.
I'm going to be having to teach myself how to video edit soon because we're going to post some YouTube videos on crafting at home.
Nice.
Toilet paper rolls or whatever
you
can find. So,
right.
Yeah. It's a big learning curve for those of us who are suddenly trying to present stuff from home.
You bring up toilet paper at a time when that's a sore topic. And luckily, I mean, before things went crazy, we already had a bunch of toilet paper. But yesterday, my son knocked a full roll of toilet paper into the toilet, and it was like, do you want to go drop like a Rolex watch in the toilet while you're at it? So it was just, Normally it would be like, oh, okay, let's just throw it away. And, we were like that with him, but secretly in our heads, we were like, oh no. Because that's the world.
Going without when the time comes,
exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yes. What are you doing to keep yourself entertained? Are you marathoning any shows at the moment?
Yeah. Well, I told you about Parks and Rec.
Yes.
Let me find my little note thing. So I've been trying to get caught up on The Magicians. That's one that I fell behind on this season. That's
based on the Lev Grossman books, right? I haven't seen it.
This is last season.
Okay.
So I got to get caught up on that. A lot of the shows I'm watching. We have cable, so I watch them like when they come on.
Old school. I like it. I like it.
I know, right? Brooklyn Nine-Nine is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, we're behind on that, but yeah, I'm a fan of that as well.
Schitt's Creek. This is their last season too. I'm a big fan of that one.
Nice.
Bob's Burgers.
Yeah.
I have a kinship with Tina on that show.
Makes perfect sense. Yeah, I get it. Picard. You've been watching Picard, right?
Picard, yes. Picard. Yeah. And are you all caught up on that?
I am all caught up on that, and I don't know if I should admit this, but I'm not really digging it. Are you liking it?
I'm liking some aspects of it. I'm more there for 7 of 9, I think, than Picard.
Yeah.
I'm really loving her.
Yes, I fully agree. Whenever Seven's on the screen, I'm like, yes. And I love, they use the Voyager theme song very, very well in that. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Like 7 will do something cool and you hear. Well, listen, next time 7 does something cool, you just hear a little bit of that Voyager theme, which is pretty cool. But I feel like the show is a little messy. It's like, my wife and I are always complaining about how it's like there's too much plot, but there's also not really like a clear plot, is how I feel about it. Like, it's hard to really know what's motivating the characters. I don't know.
Yeah. You jump into the middle of all these stories and then kind of have to go back and try and untangle it.
Right, and it feels like as each episode progresses, rather than like really answering stuff that's come up in the previous episode, it's like we have a new set of people and a new plot. What about Star Trek Discovery? You a Discovery fan?
I watched a few of them, and I was like, I can pass on this one, I think. But I did buy it for the library.
Yeah, we have it too. I think that's one. I think that's one that I've said this so many times on the podcast, but I do think that's one that's worth a second look, because it really is sloppy for a good chunk of the first season before it really finds its mojo. So if you get too bored in isolation, you should give it another shot.
Okay. Yeah. I will.
All right.
That's a good suggestion.
All right.
So do you know if Picard is a one-season thing, or are they planning to 3?
They've got it set for 3. Mm-hmm.
And is John Luke in all of them?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess I assume so. I know that I know they've already announced that Whoopi Goldberg is going to be back as Guinan in season 2.
Ooh.
So that's fun. I'm still waiting for Beverly Crusher to show up. Q, yeah, that'd be good. I'd take that. I would take that.
Or Wesley.
Yeah. Yep.
And then last night we started rewatching Umbrella Academy. Have you seen that one on Netflix?
I haven't, and I haven't read the books either. We have them in the collection. Eric's a big fan of the books, or at least the first one. But no, pretty good.
Oh man, if you like time travel and superheroes, that's the show for you.
Tina, I do like those things. Well, Tina, stay sane.
I'll do my best.
All right, thanks again, Tina. We'll see you next time.
All right, thanks.
All right, watch some 80s movies.
All right,
okay.
Hey, can I say it?
Yeah.
What a fun interview.
That applies even to non-celebrity local guests.
Yeah,
You still think it's a fun interview. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, if you think that was a fun interview, you are going to love the Justina Ireland interview we have on the next traditional episode of the podcast. Are you excited about that one, Eric?
Listen, I know I say most of the interviews are fun interviews because usually they are. Yeah. The Justina Ireland interview was tons of fun.
It really was. I know.
So
we had a good time.
There are a lot of fun and interesting discussions. Some heavy topics, some fun topics. I mean, we talked about heavy racial issues, and then we talked about Star Wars.
Yeah.
So you might get emotional whiplash.
You might.
It's a fun interview.
Yep. A Few Good Men, also a pretty good Tom Cruise movie, don't you think?
Yeah.
Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah.
Kevin
is it
Pollak,
Sorkin?
Kevin Bacon.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of Kevins.
Jack Nicholson in that as well. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Nicholson in that is kind of like one of those, like the Brando thing, where you paid a lot of money for a small amount of Brando in a film, except, it's Nicholson, and he's probably a better actor than Brando.
I agree. And, I heard a great interview with Kevin Bacon where he was talking about that intense courtroom scene with Jack Nicholson, that Nicholson would stay for all of, like, the wide shots and for, like, the close-ups on Kevin Bacon's character and all that. Like, he could have just been like, I'll be on my trailer, like, put a PA there, and they could do it. But he stayed for everything, which, I find that respectable. I think that's great.
He just sat there and...
Yeah.
Did all the scenes. It's funny. Cool. The interviews with Jack Nicholson, like he talks about how much he got paid for A Few Good Men, and he's like, I think they earned their cash. But what are you listening to during these days of isolation?
What am I listening to?
Yeah, music wise.
Yeah, I've been weirdly in kind of a southern rock kick.
Like Leonard Skinner?
A little bit of Leonard Skinner, but no, more like 38 Special was coming to Trout Run this summer, and hopefully they still are, but. So I was listening to some 38 Special. I was listening to some Marshall Tucker Band. I was listening to some of the Rolling Stones. That's a little bit more on the southern rock side of things. I made a playlist.
All right.
I've been listening to that. What about you?
I honestly didn't listen to much music during the drive or anything. I put on. I'm super stressed, so I put on the lo-fi hip hop YouTube channel that's out there. The Lo-Fi Cow or whatever it's called.
Okay.
So as soon as we got internet, I was like, let's put on lo-fi hip hop. It's been good. Okay. Yeah, I've been on Twitter and Apple News pretty much nonstop, and I'm like, I need a break. I need a break.
Idea. Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's a bad idea.
I don't know what else to do.
Yeah,
it's frustrating. Yeah. But here we are, interviewing library directors.
That's right. That's right.
So.
Well, thanks again to Tina Dalton for joining us this week. Tina's one of my favorite directors. Don't tell anybody I said that, but it's true. I always have a good time when I run into Tina at STLS meetings or conferences or that sort of thing. So I'm glad that she could join us today. And make sure you're following the regular podcast to listen to our great interview with Justina Ireland.
I think my favorite director is Steven Spielberg, but their work is different. It's not, one isn't better than the other. Yeah. It's just different.
Now, you're thinking like Indiana Jones, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, that director?
No, I'm not thinking of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull movies, we're watching The Hobbit right now.
Oh, that's a Kingdom of the Crystal Skull equivalent for you?
In some ways. Okay. It's better than the Crystal Skull, but
really?
There are moments where I'm like, oh boy, that's not great.
Huh. That's a full work day to watch those movies, start to finish.
Well, we're not watching all of them at the same time. We're watching one at night.
Just watch it. You don't have kids. You can do whatever you want.
Well,
that was another thing. That was another thing with Sally last week. She's like, oh, yeah. I asked her if she had a workspace, and she was like, oh, yeah. We just sit around on the floor in the living room, just like having fun. And I'm like, you shut up. You childless. I guess freedom.
If this is my workspace, then Scooter, the corgi mix I have, he's just sitting right here in his bed, sleeping. Okay. And the guinea pig is over on my right. Kendra was doing some work on her laptop, and she had the cat on her legs. So, that's nice. Yeah. It's kind of like we've got, like, come on, kids, give us a break.
No, it's not, though. It's not at all.
It sounds similar.
No, very different.
I mean, it's like 3 o'clock, right? You could just go take a nap now and then wake up in time for dinner.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Well, on that note, I think that's going to do it for our special Off the Books episode of the All the Book Show. We'll see you next time. Thanks, buddy.